In the grim darkness of the far future, humanity's greatest warriors are 8 foot tall, genetically enhanced super soldiers. They can spit acid, survive in the vacuum space, and live for centuries. But they are not the real heroes of Warhammer 40K. The real ones, they are ordinary men and women. They carry lasguns, weapons that the orcs call flashlights. They wear a very simple armor that might stop a round or two, but does nothing against the tyrannic claws. Their average life expectancy in combat, 15 hours. 15 hours. Today we're talking about the Imperial Guards, billions of regular humans who hold the line while Space Marine gets all the glory. Because when you strip away genetic enhancement and plot armor, what's left is the purest form of heroism in the 41st millennium. First, let's be clear about what we're dealing with here. An Imperial Guardsman is just a human, no gene seed modification, no enhancement, no super weapon. They're you, they're me, pulled from Agri Wars, Hive City, and Forge World across the Imperium. Their standard weapon is a lasgun. It's an actually decent weapon, reliable, easy to maintain, and it will kill an orc or a cultist if you hit them right. But when you're facing a Chaos Space Marine who has been killing for 10,000 years, or a Tyranid warrior that shrug off bolter rounds, the lasgun just feels like bringing a flashlight into a tank battle. Their simple armor might stop or deflect a glazing shot, but a Carnifex claw, an orc chopper, a chaos cultist autogun on full auto, you're simply dead. Simple as that. And here's the thing that makes it even worse. They know this. Every guardsman who survived their first battle knows exactly how outmatched they are. Imperial propaganda might paint them as the Emperor unstoppable legions, but the veterans know the truth. On average, a guardsman facing a Tau Fire warrior survives about 10 seconds in the open combat. Against orcs or chaos cultists, maybe 15 to 20 minutes if they're lucky and have cover. The overall average life expectancy as boots hit the ground in a war zone is 15 hours. 15 hours to live, fight, and die on a planet whose name they probably can't even pronounce. But this is just statistics. And let me show you what the real Imperial Guard heroism look like. Cadia. If you know anything about Warhammer 40K, you know that name. For 10,000 years, this fortress wall stood at the mouth of the Eye of Terror, a literal hole in reality where chaos pours into our universe. 13 times the forces of chaos fought against Cadia. 13 times Abaddon the Despoiler, War Master of Chaos, wielder of the Talon of Horus, commander of the Black Legion, threw everything he had at this one world. And 13 times the Cadian troop held the line. Think about that. No Space Marine, no Titans, no the Imperial Navy. Regular humans with lasguns and unbreakable wills stood against demon princes, Chaos Space Marines, and the traitor Legion for 10 millennia. The 13th Black Crusade was different. The Despoiler didn't just bring armies, he brought the Blackstone Fortress, Will of Eternity, an ancient alien super weapon that has the size of the moon. When conventional assault failed, he did the unthinkable. He crushed the Blackstone Fortress directly into Cadia's surface. The planet cracked open. The world was literally breaking apart beneath their feet. Civilians were being evacuated while chunks of the planet spun off into space. And what did the Cadian troops do? They kept fighting. Lord Castellan Creed organized a rearguard action, holding off Chaos forces so that the civilians and critical personnel could escape. Guardsmen fought on crumbling continents in collapsed cities as their world was dying around them. That's a phrase that echoes through Imperial history now. Cadia stands, not because the planet survived, it didn't, but because the spirit of Cadia embodied in those guardsmen who refused to retreat even as their world was shattering, proved something fundamental about humanity. The planet broke before the guard did. If you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. There are thousands of regiments whose sacrifice deserve to be remembered. Cadia's fall was apocalyptic and sudden, but some Imperial Guard victories are won through something even more brutal: attrition. The Siege of Vrax lasted 17 years. 17 years. Vrax Prime was an Imperial armory vault that fell into Chaos corruption, and the Imperium couldn't allow the traitor force to control that, so they sent the Imperial Guards to take it back. Specifically, they sent the Death Corps of Krieg, regiments famous for their suicidal bravery and complete disregard for casualties. And even by Krieg standards, Vrax was a meat grinder. Trench warfare, artillery bombardments, chemical weapons, demon incursions. For 17 years, guardsmen lived in the muddy trenches, breathing through rebreathers, watching their comrades die by the thousands. In one assault wave, a Krieg company of 600 men attacked a fortified position, and by the end of the day, 542 were dead or wounded. Every single officer was killed. The survivors regrouped and attacked again and again in the next morning. 14 million Imperial Guardsmen died on Vrax. 14 million. Can you imagine? That's more than an entire population of some countries on our Earth. And they died taking back a single planet. One trench at a time. One bunker at a time. One life at a time. No Space Marine chapter would accept those casualties. And the reason is simple. The Astartes are too valuable, too rare, but the Imperial Guards, they have one advantage that the Space Marines they don't have: numbers, and the willingness to spend those numbers like currency. When the siege finally ended after 17 years, the Death Corps had won. The planet was a radioactive wasteland. The casualties were astronomical, but they had won through sheer and bloody-minded determination. But not every guard victory requires millions of death. Sometimes it just requires the right soldier in the right place. Like with Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt and his Ghost. Using stealth, they turned the hive city into a maze of ambushes and traps. They used the enemy's superior number against them, forcing them into kill zones. They held critical position with skeleton crews while making the enemy think they faced the entire companies. The Ghosts took heavy casualties. They always do. But they held, they adapt, they won.
No genetic enhancement, no power up, just regular humans with lasguns using their brain and their courage to overcome enemies they should have crushed them. So why do they do it? Why charge you to certain death with nothing but a flashlight and a cardboard armor? The Imperium's propaganda says they fight for the God Emperor. And sure, fate plays a role, but talk to any guard veteran in the lore or the tabletop, and they'll tell you something different. They fight for their squad, for their soldier next to them in the trench, for their homeworld, even if they'll never see it again, for their families, even though most will die on the planets they can't even pronounce, fighting enemies they don't even understand. There's a perfect quote that says, "The Emperor protects, but having a loaded lasgun never hurt." That's the Imperial Guard mindset. Faith is good, hope is good, but what really matters is the person covering your flank and the lasgun in your hands. They are not brainwashed, they are not mindless, they're human making a choice, often a terrible choice, to stand and fight when running would be so much easier. So here's the tragedy of the Imperial Guard. Most of them will never go home. They'll die on a faraway world, their bodies buried in a mass graves and left to rot on the battlefield. No statues, no monuments, just another line in the casualty report. So next time you see a Space Marine getting all the glory in the Lord, remember the billions of ordinary humans standing beside them. Remember the guardsmen who held Cadia as their world died. Remember the Kriegers who bled for the 17 years on Vrax. Remember the ghosts who turned guerrilla warfare into an art form. Imperial Guards, humanity's finest, humanity's most expendables, humanity's real heroes, for the Emperor and for each other.